The feeding process of the animals are extremely important to the end result, as what goes into our bodies at any time is critical for us. Hence, Mr. Ferris Harriott, plant manager of Nutrimix Feeds, tells us of the process used to create the ration for the animals we consume.
Newport Mills Limited is a member of the Caribbean Broilers Group of Company. At this facility, we manufacture animal feed. Most of the feed we manufacture here goes out to the small farmers and medium-sized farmers of Jamaica. About 10% is also exported. The other 40% goes to our integrated poultry and pig and egg operations. Feed manufacturing starts at receiving of raw materials. Raw materials are broadly divided into two groups, macro ingredients and micro ingredients. Your macro ingredients are those that will supply energy, protein, and some amount of vitamins, but mainly energy and protein. The other type of ingredients, the micro ingredients, of course, supply your vitamins and your mineral premixes and medications if needs be. On receiving the raw material, your macro ingredients goes to storage in our silos. The micro ingredients, which are received in bags, goes into a warehouse where they are stored until they are ready for use. The actual transformation of the raw ingredients into feed starts at the process we call batching. Batching is weighing out of the ingredients in the correct proportions based on formulations. We have all our formulations stored on computer, so when we are ready to make any type of feed, the operator will just input into the computer the type of feed and the amount that we want to make, and then the computer will take over from there. The macro ingredients, as you can imagine, are weighed out on a large scale. We make in 4-ton batches. We make feed in 4-ton batches. So those are weighed out on a large scale. The micro ingredients, which some of the time we don't need maybe more than about 1 kilogram or 2 kilograms. Those are weighed out on smaller scales for accuracy. After batching, the next process is grinding. Now, grinding is the point at which we reduce the particle size of the ingredients. Corn, for example, is received in whole grain. Now, an animal cannot digest that. It has to be broken down so that the enzymes in the animal digestive system can work on it. So it is run through what we call a hammer mill, and the hammer mill grinds it down to a meal. Once the grinding is completed, it goes into a mixer. The micro ingredients and the macro ingredients come together in the mixer, and they are mixed for a set time based on the formulation. Now, the importance of mixing is that you want an even or a uniform distribution of all the ingredients in the feed. So if you mix for too short a period of time, you won't get a uniform mix. If you mix for too long, what will happen after you achieve that uniform mix, the particles start to segregate again based on their sizes. So you have an optimum mixing time. If you want a meal type feed, that is the end of the product. Meal type, or some people call it mash feed, that is the end of the product. The only thing that's left to be done, if it is going out in bags, it is packaged. If it is going out in what we call bulk, it goes into a bin, and then it is loaded into our bulk trucks and goes to the farm where they are transferred from the truck into the bins and the farms. But mash or meal feed is just 10% of the feed that we make. And 90% of the feed we make undergo further processing, and that process is called pelleting. Now, pelleting is a transformation of the mash feed into pellets. Some people call it grain or grain type feed. 60% of the feed we make goes out in bags. The other 40% goes out in bulk. All our integrated feeds, our feed for our integrated operation, goes out in bulk. And that's basically the process, a simple process, but one that you have to play close attention to. You have to ensure that your scales are properly calibrated, your meters are properly calibrated, there's no leaking of one bin into the other to present the chance of cross-contamination. So we'll have to ensure that we are on top of that. And of course, the frequent cleaning and stuff to reduce Salmonella, E. coli, or even the chance of insect infestation.
What is feed conversion and how important is it to our farmers? Winston Thomas, sales manager of the facility, explains that and more.
Feed conversion is simply the amount of feed it takes to produce a pound of meat. This is very important to the farmers, and it helps them to determine whether they're making a profit or making a loss. What you do as a farmer is that you need to record the quantities of feed that you would have used to bring the animal to market, and then you take the weight of the animal when it is ready for market and divide the quantity of feed by the amount of meat that you have produced, and that way you determine the quantity of feed you use to produce a pound of meat, which is really your feed conversion. That is really converting your feed into meat. It is important to have the correct formulation for your animals because different animals have different nutritional needs. If you look at the physiological makeup of each of the animals, they all are made up in different ways. Different species of animals are going to need different types of nutrition. If you take it, for example, you have what you call monogastric animals, which has one compartment stomach, and then we have what we call the ruminants, which has 4 compartment stomach. Within these two groups, you have different species of animals too, and each species, whether it being a monogastric or a ruminant, requires different nutrition. We have studied, over time, scientists have studied these animals and know what their needs are, and we formulate our ration to meet the nutritional needs of all these animals. So we ensure that all our animals get the proper nutrition when they use Nutrimix feeds. Nutrimix is the only feed mill in the Caribbean that is certified ISO, GMP, and HACCP. GMP simply means good manufacturing practices. ISO is International Organization for Standardization, and HACCP is our food safety system. What it does for us at the feed mill is that it ensures that every bag of feed that rolls off our production line is safe for your animals, and when your animals is converted to food, it is safe for you as the individual consuming these meats. This certification not only ensures food safety, but also maintains consistency in the quality of what we do. We depend largely as a company on the farmers for our survival. If the farmers are not successful, we cannot survive because we depend on them. So it is important for us that the farmers of the country are making a profit from what they're doing. To ensure that the farmers are doing the things that they're supposed to do the correct way so that they become profitable at the end of the day. As a company, we have employed a team of technical service personnel and a team of sales reps who are also technically trained. And these persons are entrusted with the responsibility to ensure that they give the farmers the technical advice, the technical know-how, assist them with the management of what they're doing. As we get into the festive season each year, we understand that as Jamaicans, our consumption of meat tend to increase. If you use Nutrimix feed to feed your animals, you can ensure that whatever you're going to eat on your plate is going to be safe. Because like I mentioned earlier, the factory is so certified and there are systems in place to ensure that what goes into these animals as a feed is deemed to be safe because we ensure it's safe. So when you eat the end product, which is your meat on your plate, once it was fed Nutrimix feed, you can rest assured that you're getting a safe product.